you. So next up we have Dennis Schatz, and he's going to be talking about the work that he and others have been doing with schools and libraries, and I know he has a lot of fun things to share.
Thank you, Angela. Great to see everybody here. I'm here actually, I should say really on behalf of a number of people, not myself only, but Andy Fraknoi, my conspirator in many ways, as part of this report, and then really the whole solar eclipse activities for libraries crew, Annie Holland the lead, but a whole number of them to talk about what happened here and what are our lessons learned. I should point out that not only did the science eclipse activities for libraries receive major funding from the Moore Foundation, so we certainly have to thank them for the resources they provided, but they connected to the NASA, My Library's partner program to distribute solar kits that could be used after, solar astronomy kits that could be used after the eclipse was over. And you'll see some of the numbers here. I think people always heard about the 6 million glasses that were distributed to 15,000 libraries, but I have to admit, if you just did that without the training, without the background, the resource materials, guides, some of these kits, it wouldn't have been as useful. But you'll see that there were 2,000 librarians that were involved in a large number of workshops. There were 217 of these solar science kits that were distributed across the country. We had 143 solar eclipse resource partners, and over 49,000 programs were held by these libraries, including the resource people, reaching 2.8 million people. So it was a large effort. You can get a sense of it from this map of where things were involved, and a lot was done in Spanish language. The guide was translated into Spanish for everybody. Whoops. Oh, it's on a timer. Oh, well, I'm not going to let it do that to me. Why libraries? I just want to say that quickly. One is that every community has a library. They're free. If you look at the demographics, it's 1-to-1 in terms of the demographics of their population, so it's very equitable, very important. And it's a great place for programming. Librarians are very involved with doing programming, and they're very open to trying to do new kinds of programming. Too touchy. So I want to spend most of my time, because this is where I have the results from this time. The SEAL program is still doing its collection of surveys and so on, but we have completed our work with the NSTA, National Science Teaching Association, Solar Eclipse partners to look at their lessons learned. And I should point out that both of the experts from SEAL and the experts from NSTA had these simple requirements. They had to do at least one program before the annular eclipse, one before the total eclipse, talking about safe viewing strategies, the science of solar eclipses, and certainly what was going to happen in their local area. And while they were asked to only do 2, we actually had people that did up to like 17 different programs. The average was somewhere around 5 to 6, depending on how you look at it and the way they reported it. I'm going to give you a QR code and a link to the final report, which has a lot more information about what these Eclipse experts did, but I just wanted to highlight a few of them just so you get a sense of it. And I'm going to highlight the ones that excited me the most, and that's where educators use their students to actually become the experts. So this is Crystal Tebby from Marysville, Ohio. She had students, these were high school students. They actually developed the materials, the 7 to 10 minute presentations, and they had a big eclipse fair. So the students became the educators, and you can see them working. Stephanie Holtzman from East Brunswick, New Jersey. She also had them apply, had 108 students apply. She wanted 25. They had to do a 2-minute audition tape, their presentation, 108 applied. So very high excitement, and it allowed them to do a lot more programming. They went to libraries, a pre-K program, you can read that up there. And I want to point out, it's not just for older students. This is a group of fourth graders who became experts and they developed the displays. They all had their T-shirt, as you can see, and they were at the Cedar Valley STEM Festival. This is just 3 examples of many that were there. Yesterday we had a group that was presenting that talked about using students to become ambassadors. Now, they all aren't like that, but you can see the report. You'll see lots of pictures, lots of testimonials, and so on. But I'm not going to get into that. I want to talk about the lessons learned in the few minutes I have left. It was summed up by one person: plan early, ask others to help, have fun. And you'll really see that, ask for help. A lot of them ask for help from amateur astronomy, astronomers at universities. Who do you have? The experts out there. You don't have to be the expert, but also find other teachers, other people within the system that can help you do the work. You don't have to do it all. I love getting the students involved, of course, and there's this quote, I just have to read it. My high school age students gained so many valuable lessons in leadership, working as a team, presentation skills, and learning to go with the flow. Our younger students who participated in the assemblies loved the older role models coming to visit them. All those things that we want to happen in education were happening because of these students. So think about getting students involved in it, and it can be students in schools, which is mainly what the NSTA Solar Eclipse Partners dealt with, but we had a science center yesterday that was talking about it. So it can really be done in many different ways, boys and girls clubs and so on. One thing that we learned in 2017, communicate with administrators early and often. That was actually the exact words used by one of the people you can see there. Stress that you are there to help, not that you're trying to, beat them up or convince them, but you're a knowledgeable expert. Don't assume that these people know a lot about astronomy. Somehow there's this assumption that, they're adults, so they should know a fair amount. And especially administrators can be misled very easily by incorrect information that's out there from other sources. And again, the last one on that is the same thing. They thought everything was set. They hadn't talked to their administrator enough, and things got changed on them. I think another thing is that a lot of people got focused on, safe viewing. These are the glasses you need. It's all about how to view and so on. And what was really critical was to talk about the science, what's happening, what makes it so special. And so the other thing that they really put forward in terms of lessons learned, and this is from about 100 of the Solar Eclipse partners in terms of the things that were being recommended, was this really important to talk about the science using models, activities about the science itself. And then the last thing, of course, is on the big day, take time to experience the moment and have fun from the first. People get so caught up they actually don't get to enjoy it. And I have a QR code if you're interested in the full report. It's not really that long, lots of good pictures. You can find it here. We are going to put something into the bulletin, and we want to write for Connected Science Learning and 2 other NSTA journals. So there will be reports coming out later on once we get the full reports from the SEAL program. Thank you very much. Glad to see everybody here.
Questions for Dennis? David.
Very good. Thank you for sharing that. Do you have one of the things that I observed anecdotally from 2017 to 2024 was many more school districts at various levels, state agencies were willing to close their schools on a school day than before. Did you do any research, any reporting or anecdotal surveys to find out comparison-wise, were we really more successful?
I don't have any data. We didn't do a survey to say how many closed and so on, but I'll say anecdotally, and there's a lot of reasons for it, a lot more did close or they had early release. One of the big challenges this time around was that the eclipse went through the most populated part of the country, at release time for schools. And you ran into this real problem. You want to let kids see the eclipse, but they're supposed to be getting on a bus. There's a bus schedule. Easiest thing to do would be to cancel or have early release. Last time in 2017, the Southeast was hit a little bit with that, but it went through the much less populated areas, so you didn't have as much of an issue.
Okay, yeah, 'cause where I'm at in Ohio, they definitely did that. I had early conversations with the Ohio Department of Education. The problem is that they had no authority to close schools. It's a district by district type of thing that way. So I would say that's something we definitely need to capture for future planners and all that way. Let them know that it really was successful and made a big difference and kept school buses off the road, which is good for transportation. So thank you.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time trying to make sure that if they were in school, to make sure they let them go outside and see it. That was the big thing. And it worked sometime, and it didn't work other times, but it was a lot worse in 2017.
I think you have another one.
Oh.
I found at some poorer schools, transportation is a big issue.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
I found at some economically disadvantaged schools, transportation was an issue. For instance, in October for the annular eclipse in Uvalde, we tried to have the children come for the viewing. If their parents didn't bring them, and a lot of them, depend on the bus, they weren't, they couldn't attend. And so that's something else. I think there is also something to be said of having school in lower incomes just for that very reason, so that there is access and actually an event.
Yeah, I mean, it's the issue that there's local control in the United States in school districts means it's really a school district by school district decision. And I think those are some of the big challenges of, last time in 2017, I worked with a school district where I wouldn't say half, but a large number of their schools were outside of totality, but a number were inside totality. So how do you move students around? And they ultimately weren't able to do it. They couldn't figure out how to do it. It was sad.
Thank you.
Yeah.